All right, Brandon, we are live.
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. You?
Man, I'm doing great, brother.
Glad to hear
Doing
it.
great.
We we'll just keep talking for a little bit.
Okay.
I have millions of people that watch this live
hmm
stream.
Yeah.
I guess we'll speak that into existence, right? But
Yeah, absolutely.
we just
Absolutely.
we'll just wait for a few more people to get in before we get into the real reason why we're here to talk about home inspections and everything. And
Absolutely.
so I've been knowing you for a long time, and we've already
Yeah. Did
talked.
my first mortgage.
Yeah, actually, you know what? The crazy thing is you were one of my first loans.
Really?
Well, y'all didn't know that at the time, but you,
Yeah. But man, you held our hand, you made us feel like family, and we are family now.
yeah, at
That's
this point, definitely.
yeah, at this but I was like 26, you know what I'm saying? I was a kid trying to
Got
buy a house.
yeah,
Yeah, you helped us figure it out.
thanks, I appreciate it. So yeah, I was
Yeah.
6 months into the business at that point.
Wow.
Yeah, I was a whole 6 months into the mortgage industry in 2005. And you all bought in December, like
I don't listen,
right before Christmas.
but you know what's funny? That's the perfect segue. That's the perfect segue to what I want to kind of what I was. So that was the perfect segue to what I wanted to say. My son just came in. I told him like what we were doing,
Oh, your
but
son
as the
came in. Like at this
yeah
point, it doesn't even matter anymore. Everybody knows that we're,
yeah
in,
I'm just
in our
like
house with the pandemic, and we're all teachers and counselors, whatever.
yeah.
So yeah,
But that's why I got into home inspections. When we bought our house,
yeah,
we the home inspection. I had no idea about the process, what a home inspection was, this, that, and the other. And we walked around with him, and I'm just like, kind of my wheels are turning in my head, and I'm like, now what are you doing? And it's stuff I had grew up around. You know, my dad flipped houses in the '80s, and I'm my dad's right hand man. You know, so I was always with him, and he's super duper handyman. Anybody knows my dad. So all the stuff the guy was looking for and explaining, I'm like, I can do this. And he wasn't really trying to give me, the information on what it took, to become a home inspector because he was working for a company.
right.
So I already X'd that out. I was like, nah, I'm definitely not working for nobody else doing this. But then after I paid him and I'm like, man, I can do this. And just so happens the military was doing a tuition assistance um, program for certifications.
Yeah,
So I was like, let me see. Did a little research, figured it out, and that's how I got into doing it. So
got it. So everybody, we're gonna get started then. So yeah,
yeah, let's do it.
so the reason, Brandon, as you know, that we're doing this is every Thursday at 2 o'clock. I've been going live just to present information to our network, to give them good, valuable information so that everybody knows what they're up against. Largely in with the home ownership experience, but it doesn't have to be necessarily that way. It could be for anything that we're going through right
hmm
now with COVID and this pandemic. And so one of the things that I've been thinking about, and as people, especially now, they're still continuing to buy houses. Like the coronavirus hasn't shut many people down, like in regards to
Not at all.
homeownership. I know you're probably just as busy as you've ever been.
Super, super busy. It's like
Right.
nothing ever happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And so today's topic is how to get the most from a home inspection. So
hmm
we've been speaking over the years, and most recently we were talking, and I thought it would be a good idea to bring you on because I think people should understand like some of the misconceptions behind it. I think that also there's, which you kind of hit me to this the other day. There's certain expectations and standards that are involved with the home inspections. And lastly, the one thing that I think that I'm really excited about to hear, and I think is super important, is like what questions do you often get asked, and what questions should you be asking a home inspector when you go through
hmm
the process? And so, just real quick, if you can tell us who you are,
Okay.
what you do, and then we'll get into everything.
So I'm Brandon Diggs, with DHI Home Inspections. Veteran-owned business, veteran-owned small business. I've been doing home inspections since since the end of 2010. I'm also a instructor for the College of Southern Maryland. I instruct the home inspection certification course. So I have a lot of experience. Certified water sampler, doing radon tests, pretty much the whole gamut of everything that's involved in doing a home inspection.
Sweet. That's good stuff. Yeah, I know because I know you, I know whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna put everything into it.
Absolutely.
And I know you're a student of the game. So misconceptions. What are some of the misconceptions out there in regards to home inspection?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions of what a home inspection is one that is pass or fail. There's no such thing as pass or fail. Now there are some like inspection criteria items or some things that we could find that you as a lender would be like, no, we're not going to move forward with that because that's just too much of a risk or liability. The same thing with the VA loan process. The VA inspector will come and find certain things, unacceptable. We don't have the time to get into all of those little details, but so those things can kind of slow the process up. That doesn't mean it's pass or fail. But one thing to remember is that the home inspector works for you, the buyer. Doesn't work for, the agent may have referred them, a friend may have referred them, the mortgage company may have referred them, but that's just a referral. We as inspectors work for the buyer. So just remember that your home inspector should be there trying to find everything that they can find within reason um, for you, just to make you more of an informed buyer, to make a better informed decision. So that segues into another misconception is that the home inspector should find everything that's wrong with the house. That is kind of an unrealistic expectation because we can only we don't have 7 hours to inspect the house. We can't tear the drywall down. We can't put the house in every weather condition. We can't simulate all of those different things. So not to mention when somebody's selling a house, sellers sometimes skillfully hide certain things. So if someone's hiding a water leak and there's no evidence that it was a water leak, and now you buy your house, you're in it for 2 months, we have a heavy rain, now you got a water leak. You're, quite naturally upset with your inspector. You're like, oh, you should have found that. I'm like, yeah, that's okay, but just with my experience, what I do is I take a lot of pictures, especially in the attic, because it's not only for my liability, it helps kind of troubleshoot if you do have a problem down the road. And we do find a leak in the attic. I'm like, hey, this is what the attic looked like the day I inspected it. Here are all the pictures, no signs of leaks. So that's another reason why we do that.
Understood. And then so you talked about home buyers. Do you have to necessarily be a home buyer to get a home inspection? Can I?
Absolutely not. I inspect people's homes. They've been in them for 2 years, because sometimes you may have went through some major renovations. You may be getting ready to sell your house. I do pre-listing inspections, so you can basically find everything that a home inspector is going to find and slow your deal up. So if you want to get out of a house, you want to sell your house fairly quickly. I've even seen people take a pre-listing home inspection I've done and give it to the buyer. And if the buyer is trusting of you, they'll be like, okay, that's everything that's wrong with the house. And then they could be like, hey, this is everything we fixed. Um, some people just like, hey, I've been living in this house for 10 years. I don't know what's going on with it. Can you just come in and do an inspection? I say absolutely, because the inspection is the same every time. It doesn't matter what you're doing, buying, selling. I inspect them the same every time.
Right, right. And I hear I like what you said about the and I'm gonna go back to that piece in 1 second
Hmm.
before we move on. But when you said no pass or fail, I think that's very important because I always hear you know, some deals hinging on the fact of based on a home inspection. Did my home
Hmm.
inspection pass? Did my home inspection fail? And then so like you're saying, it's not meant to be that. It's meant to give you an idea of what you're,
Hmm.
what you're getting yourself, into and what you're up against. It's kind of
Hmm.
like right taking your favorite mechanic to the auto dealership, pop the hood up
Absolutely.
so that you can take a look at the engine and you know peek your car
Underneath the car, because we
purchase,
know what we're
right?
looking for.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So real quick,
Hmm.
before you started doing home inspections back in the day, the house that my wife and I owned together beforehand, we could not decide. Every year we used to try to do a home improvement
Hmm.
project. And during that time, we could not agree one year on what home improvement project we should do.
Hmm.
Can't remember exactly what it was. Let's just say she wanted to get new gutters, and no, I think it was she wanted to get a new roof, like a
Hmm.
whole new roof. And I
Yeah.
wanted to do something different. And I'm like, I don't know if we need a new roof. It's very expensive. I'm not even sure if it's worth doing that because we're not maybe not going to be living here that long. So the one thing we did is we said, you know what? We can get a home inspection. We can't agree on it. Um, and so we could spend $400 or whatever the number was at that time, and we hired a
Hmm.
home inspector to come, and they went through the entire house, and then they,
Yeah.
you know, they told us things that were going on with the house, and so, pretty much every year thereafter, we would look back at that home inspection and say, "Hey, these are some of the things that
Use
we
it
should
as a
focus
checklist.
on as a checklist."
And
Yeah,
that's a good point you make, because just with a lot of the different loan and mortgage vehicles that are out there, every you might be, or just every type, different types of purchase, somebody might be buying a home as is. I see that more and more. A lot of people are buying as is homes, so that home inspection can really lend itself to just be a checklist of like, hey, these are the things that I need to do. And as a home inspector, what I do, especially in those instances, is I try to make it, give them like priority one, two, and three. It's not that, the house is going to fall apart, but if what I see as being the most important, so if, for instance, using your roof, there's a house that the roof, was, the shingles had clearly had a lot of age on them, maybe some potential leaks, just maybe failing product. I would say, hey, priority one for me would be the roof. Priority number two would probably be the windows, and so on and so forth. So
oh, so you
I
do
try to,
that in your reports?
no, I do that more on a verbal basis, like
I
on the
see.
walk around.
I see.
So
I
real
see.
quick before I forget, I just want to add something in there real quick. Since the COVID-19 and social distancing and things like that, what I've done in the home inspection process is I don't preferably like the client to be there during the inspection, just because for social distancing reasons. So what I've been doing is, after I finish the home inspection, I'll do a walk around video of all
Oh,
of the
nice.
things that I found, and upload it to my YouTube page as a private link and send it directly to the client. So they don't feel inclined to have to, wear masks and gloves and come out there and put themselves in harm's way. But we can just, just do it like that.
Got it, got it. Are you all still getting on top of the roof and crawling in the what is it in the crawl spaces and everything?
Hey, well, let me say this. I've always been sort of a daredevil. So for me, I use a drone for one to do a lot of roof inspections, but because of FAA regulations, there's some areas that I can't fly my drone. So if the roof is accessible and safe, I don't mind getting on the roof. I still kind of, what I'm saying, still kind of get my blood pumping. I have a picture I have to share with you, with this huge house, and I was at the peak of the roof, and a guy that I'm training, he took a picture of me up there, and I was like, wow. So yeah, I don't. It's actually my preferred way to do a roof inspection.
To
If
climb
I
the
could get
ladder
on,
and do it?
if I could get on every roof, I could. I would. Now the drone, my drone shoots in 4K. It's wonderful, makes for beautiful pictures. But I think it's just that home inspector in me that still kind of wants to get up there and see it up close.
Okay, got it, got it. So look, I'm gonna skip over the expectations and standards, and we'll
Hmm.
go back to that because I do want people to kind of hear, and then for those that are listening right now, you can add comments in the comment section there. So any questions that you might have, put those in there, and I'd be happy to pass those along to Brandon so that we can answer them here because I know people do have tons of questions about home inspection. So let's get into like questions. So
Hmm.
one of the things that comes up a whole lot that I know comes up because I've experienced this is do you need a home inspection when you're buying new construction? They're building a house brand new and you can kind of watch them build it and everything's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, why do I need to spend, I don't know how much a home inspection costs these days, $500 to $700,
Hmm.
depending upon what you
Yeah.
get. Why do I need to spend that extra money to get a home inspection on a freshly built house?
Well, I think it's a couple things to remember. The builder, if the build, let's say for instance, the builder is building a house with a community with 100 houses. You're one of 100. You know what I mean? You're really, and be honest with you, and it sounds kind of insensitive, but you're really just another customer to them. They're trying to get that house built. They're trying to get you in it, and they're trying to move on to the next one because they got probably about 10 others being built at the same time. Remember this: the builder, as much as as beautiful as these homes are, they're not your friend. They're usually a huge company. You're just another customer. So, and to be realistic too, they're not necessarily skipping over things or doing things, not finishing things on purpose. It's just that, again, they got 20 other houses they're building, so
Yeah,
it's
there could be
easy for them to
human
miss.
error too as
They
well.
got 50. Yeah, human error. I would say 90% of it is human error. You know, now you got to think there's usually 10 to 15 contractors in a house at the same time. So when you understand the construction process, the drywall man has to wait for the electrician and the plumber. Then the drywall man has to come back. So there's a lot of different things going on inside of that house. So there's a lot of things that the builder will not catch. That is just, again, the amount of volume that they see. Now, the advantage of having your own home inspector is like, hey, I work exactly for you. I don't have any ties to the builder. I don't care. I'm going to nitpick everything. And the other good thing about a new construction inspection that's different than a house that's pre-owned is that we can actually come in and comment and talk about some of the aesthetic things, some of the cosmetic things, like, hey, this cabinet is chipped and scratched. This is dented. This wood is not stained. Things that we couldn't talk about on a pre-owned home. So when you come in, my report kind of puts the builder's feet to the fire, because once you give them that report, you're going to do that before you go to closing. So they're going to rush to get all of those things fixed before you go to closing. Now, another thing I just want to mention too, another service I offer, so I want to rewind a little bit, is a part of that new construction inspection is a pre-drywall inspection.
Okay.
Okay. That is very important. I have found numerous discrepancies in the pre-drywall process. Um, because I've been around, I can read blueprints. I was an electrician in my former life, so I'm well versed in electrical matters. So I'm able to look at the blueprints, make sure the proper permits were pulled, and looking at the layout of the house to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be before they put the drywall up, and to make sure they're not covering up, some kind of, maybe insufficient work, different, low bearing walls and things like that. I found a bunch of things in that process. If you remember on your house, we talked to them about the way your yard was graded,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they had to come back and regrade. Well, to in layman's terms, they had to restructure his yard so the water would run away from his house, so he didn't have different areas where water would pond. So those are a couple of different things. And then I also offer a warranty inspection. So the warranty inspection, for those of you who may or may have not bought a new house, your house is under 100% warranty by the builder for the first 12 months. So if I came and did an inspection when you first moved in, I like to come in around the 11th month and then say, hey, the house is now settled a little bit after being erected for a year. So let's look for nail pops. Let's look for any cracking. Let's make sure the foundation is still intact. No cracks in the foundation, and that everything is working, the way it's supposed to. So again, now you can catch that builder while they still kind of work for you. You understand what I'm saying? Because after that 12
Right.
months, they're gonna be like, "That's your house," you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So homeowners, I think even if it's for informational purposes only, I do think it's very important to get a home inspection so that you know what you're up against. Um, and so, like, in regards to other realtors that might be listening to this too as well, that may not have as much experience, you can get a home inspection on the new construction. It's not unheard of to do something like that. Couple other questions. There's one question that someone put in the comment. Um, what do you look for when searching for the right home inspector?
I would say if, now, if you asked me 10 years ago, was experience important? I would say no, because I wanted some experience. So I think experience is important, but I would look for one, just ask them about, their credentials. Are they what are they certified in? Because there are several different certifications that go along with just being a home inspector. But experience is one. Um, I was It's kind of hard to judge someone's temperament, but I think that just them being able to explain to you that they work for you and not anybody else, because there are some shady home inspectors out there that because they work for maybe some unprofessional real estate agents, they overlook different things so they can go, and keep getting inspections from, the realtor. But I don't operate like that. I think the integrity of a home inspector is that we always, and then your real estate agent should feel the same way. Your
Yeah,
real estate agent and your home inspector should not want you to buy a house that could be potentially problematic in the future.
yeah. Everything
It's
I've been
just
talking about lately, Brandon, has been about the our industry remaining sustainable. And so,
absolutely.
if we're not doing those things to protect the homeowner, and to protect our industry and being sustainable, then we have bigger issues. We have a even worse problem. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, I think that's definitely very important. So, experience. I think experience matters more than anything.
absolutely.
Relationships, experience matters. You also said temperament, or just transparency, because you want
And
someone
communication.
to work in on your side, but also to be able to
Absolutely.
communicate what's going on. Is there a third one like that you
Because
would
you
look for?
because I mean, not necessarily one definitive point, but you are a trusted advisor. They're
Right.
trusting you. My thing is, if you're trusting me, I want to be able to find the things that I know that you might not necessarily see or know. So what I even have clients, Shawn, calling me 2 years from 2 years ago. And not that I didn't find something, it's like, hey, we just need some advice. What's this? What should we do here? What should we do there? And I like to just at free of cost just offer my expertise uh, to the client. And another point is I let my clients know. I say, look, I don't care whether you buy this house or not. And they look at me funny, and I kind of wait for that response. And I said, because I don't feel the way you feel about it. I'm here to be emotionless about this purchase, because when a person walks in a house, they put a contract on the house, it gets ratified. You did it because you love it. You know what I mean? So they still kind of, it's like being in the honeymoon phase. They like, oh man, this house is so beautiful. The bathroom is this, the bathroom is like. I look at, you know, probably 170, 180 houses a year. I have zero emotion when it comes to a house. I don't care if you like the bathroom or not. Like
Just want to make sure that the toilet flushes. There's
clients
no
2 weeks
leaks.
ago, the bathroom was beautiful, beautiful shower, faucets and everything was leaking. Foundation was leaking. But guess what? They're buying a different house. I don't tell them whether to buy the house or not. Now, that's not my place, because again, I really don't care whether you buy it or not. I care that we together could find everything that we could find that day.
Right, right. Which is very important. At the end of the day, it's uh it's a report. It's a report that tells you all the good and the bad, or things that to look for, life expectancy and such of different
Hmm.
functions and features within that home, right?
Hmm.
All right. So one of the so two more questions I'm going to ask you.
Hmm.
Um, Second opinions, like
Hmm.
like can you talk about that? Like, so for instance, if someone is currently in a home inspection, and or they've gotten a home inspection and then they come to you for a
Hmm.
second opinion, is there like any professional courtesy involved in that, or is there like how do you all in the home inspection world treat something like that?
Um.
Like, would you go back and re-inspect the property, or would you look at the home inspection for them, or is that something
Oh,
where you'll go
if now I've done houses that have been previously inspected,
right,
and if somebody has the report, I would love to look at that report first
right.
because one, I want to see if these items still exist. But then, based on my experience and other home inspectors' experience, there are some things that I may be able to find that you may not be able to find because I've experienced these things, and vice versa. But I think, from my personal experience, the handful of home inspectors I know, I think it's more or less a like brotherhood, sisterhood, where it's like, hey, what do you think about this? I've bumped things up against other home inspectors. I've maybe never seen something before. Send them a picture real quick.
Okay,
Like, hey, what do you think have you ever seen this? Yeah, I've seen that. That's this, I haven't really had now I have heard horror stories about other people's inspections, and I really try to get I dig deep on that. Like, okay, what didn't you like about that home inspector? You say you had a home inspector before. What was it about them that you didn't necessarily that you weren't feeling? So now I can, if maybe I do something similar to that, I want to avoid that. You know what I mean? But again, what you were saying, just kind of uh, piggybacking off what you say to second opinions is, as a home inspector, I'm going to refer you to get second opinions on specific items. So let's say the HVAC is maybe not performing where I think it should based on just some measurement criteria. I'm going to refer you to a licensed HVAC technician. I'm not going to make the final call on whether it needs to be replaced.
I
My
see.
comments will always say repair or replace as necessary. And I
I see.
use that term all the time because it's not realistic to say oh, this HVAC is not working, it needs to be replaced.
I
It could
see.
be something as simple as a $25 part to repair it. So you have to also be fair to the seller as well and give them the opportunity to fix it. And I know I'm talking a lot, but I wanted to say one more thing, um, to all of the potential buyers and real estate agents out there, is don't get discouraged when the home inspector finds a lot of stuff. That's good. But what you also have to do is give the seller and the listing agent the opportunity to fix things. You would be amazed at the things that they would fix. Um, uh, Jeree Spencer's on here right now. She's a phenomenal real estate agent. We were talking, and I think I did her home inspection, found a lot of things wrong with the roof. The seller replaced the roof. Don't get discouraged if the inspector say, "Oh, the roof is leaking." A lot of times, the seller will replace certain things. They will fix a lot of things, but we have to make sure that those repairs were done by licensed contractors. That's all
Got
that
it.
I ask. Mhm.
Yeah. So look, last question.
Yeah,
Um, Last question. What's the life expectancy of a home inspection?
the life expectancy, like a warranty of it,
Yeah.
I would say honestly 24 hours, and
Oh,
that
okay.
24 hours, and I say that because there are a lot of things that we can only inspect the house in the condition that it's in that
So it's
day.
all based on the day, the time that you were at that particular property, right?
Because think about this. I've had people say, because it's like certain things that we can't do based on the time of year. So I can't test the air conditioner AC unit in December because the outside unit is pushing cold refrigerant into the house. With the outside temperature being, below 65 degrees, you could damage the system trying to test it. So let's say and you went and started your process of buying your house, and I did your inspection in December. But now you got January, February, March. Let's say the deal got, and you've experienced this, the deal got held up for months based on a lot of different things, right? And now you come in and move your house and try to cut the AC on. You're like, hey, home inspector, my AC's not working.
It's all your
I
fault.
put Guess what? No, it's not, because guess what I've done? I've already put in the report that I did not check the AC. And I told you
Right,
9 times out of 10, hey, I didn't check the AC because it's too cold outside. Now,
right.
what I will do is a visual inspection of that equipment that I can't function test and be able to, hey, determine if it may or may not be working based on that. But again, I also put in the comments, I recommend you get a licensed HVAC person to determine the longevity of that piece of equipment.
Right, right. No, that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. So man, this was awesome, and I hope it was really
Hmm.
helpful for everybody that's listening. And so the good thing, Brandon, is we can reshare this information. I will save it for
Okay.
future. But for those that are listening, and can you tell us how to get in touch with you? So to get a home inspection, how will we get in touch with you?
The easiest thing to do is you could definitely contact me on LinkedIn, but the easiest thing to do would be to call me at 240-682-4119. You can call or text. You can email me at dhinsp@gmail.com. But those are the easiest ways to contact me. And Shawn, you have my contact information as well, and you have had no problem sharing it in the past. So,
No, no, sir. So look, I'll put you on the spot. I ask
hmm
everybody before we get off. Um,
hmm
do you want to give us some parting words, sir?
I would say definitely shop around for your home inspector. You don't have to go with the first person that's referred to you. I would definitely say shop around and look for different things. Again, I would say support a small business while doing home inspections, because think about this. If Brandon Diggs works for ABC Home Inspections, and I'm getting paid per inspection, it would behoove me to try to do 3 to 4 home inspections in one day.
Yeah, volume as many
So
as you could.
yeah, I'm sole proprietor. I generally at the most may do 2 in a day, and I space them out and give myself time so I can give you the best inspection possible. So when you're supporting a small business like that, think about the care that that home inspector is going to put into that inspection. I'm going to put everything into it because I'm the HR office, I'm the complaint office, I'm everything. So when someone has a complaint about Johnny that does a home inspection for the big company, they're not going to talk to him. They can complain about him and they're going to send him out. It's my livelihood. I do 100% referral based business. I don't have a website. I don't have any social media stuff like that. I don't advertise on any of that stuff. So 100% referrals is everything. And one thing I know is that if I don't operate with integrity and I don't operate and do the best inspections that I can, people are not going to refer me. I have clients I've done 3 and 4 home inspections for,
Yeah,
and this is not because they didn't buy their house, man. Maybe they've bought the house, sold it, investors, things like that. They use me time and time again based on just my level of communication and professionalism.
that's awesome. Thank you so much. And so, what I always say is basically make sure everyone you continue to stay safe. Practice your social distancing as best as you can. Uh, and a plan is very important. That's part of the reason why we're doing this right now, is to make sure that, like I said, when people get into to creating that roadmap, or actually you have a roadmap to accomplish your goals and to get where you need to be. So just make sure that you stay focused on your plan. Everybody have a great day. We will be back next Thursday at 2 o'clock. And Brandon, thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
No worries. So let me shut this down. Bye bye, everybody. And
See ya.
we'll be speaking next Thursday.
All right.